Here's an update. I got this work done at the Harley shop. A guy named Mickey at Fort Washington. He's a great guy. They did me a nice favor. They gave me 2 cams for free that were a takeoff. Somebody had upgraded a new bike with their Screaming Eagle parts. So these cams have just been run for testing, or not testing, but I guess the break-in and the motor. And that's it, brand new. I was on the fence. I was almost going to change over to hydraulics, but they gave me such a good deal I couldn't pass it up. For $100, they took out the old cams, put in the new cams, and mounted this tensioner, which is a thing that I couldn't do. I was messing with it, trying to put it in without removing these cams, but I couldn't get it done. I almost could get it on there, but it's got such a huge preload on that spring, I couldn't get it turned around. This tensioner needs to sweep through the full swing. It wants to sit over here. So there's a lot of tension on that spring. Right now it's being held by this pin, just a piece of coat hanger that Mickey cut and stuck in there. So these cams though are actually not from a 99, which is what my bike is. My bike's an early 99 twin cam. These cams are from a later model. The main difference being that this shaft for the pulley is spline, whereas mine is just a keyway. Cams that came off there were a keyway. So that necessitates getting a new sprocket. Around 2003, the part manual has the correct sprocket. It's got to be spline. Plus, it's still got to have this half moon sort of standing semicircle that triggers the cam, I believe it's called a cam position sensor. So a couple of things Mickey was pointing out to me. When he put this, he told me some stuff that he did while he was putting it together, and then some other things to pay attention to while reassembling it. I'll try and run through those because he did it sort of quick for me, and I'm not sure if I'm going to remember everything. So these marks on the cams are aligned at the time he puts the chain on and presses this in. So one thing that he said, which isn't really relevant to me, but maybe next time around it will be, is that watching these marks is not easy when you're pressing these cams in from the top, or the bearings in from the top. I'm not sure how it goes. So anyway, one thing he did was to mark equivalent positions inside with red paint so he could see what's going on. He's also got red on the chain, which I think is just a reminder to him as to which side was out. So those cams are lined up by Mickey, because the chain is going to determine the relative orientations of those. So that's the plate, new cams. He was noting that this surface here where the oil pump rides, he says is in excellent condition considering that it's a 99 bike with 85,000 miles on the motor. There's almost no wear on that face, so that's nice. Only, this is the only place that screwed up where I was trying to get that in. But I think we'll be okay. And so he didn't have anything negative to say about it, but maybe he's just keeping his mouth shut for my benefit. One other thing he said, and I'll probably go through this again on the case, but when mounting this up to the case, he says make sure and blow out the holes that the screws mount into. He says there's a couple of these screws that tend to accumulate oil in the screw hole in the case when the thing's sitting apart, just from oil running down the side of the case as it's disassembled. And he said if that oil is in those holes when you try and run the bolts back in, you can crack the case from pressure, hydraulic pressure. So he said blow them out with air, compressed air, at the time it's being reassembled. So these are the new cams. Trying to see if you can see this on the screen, but there's marks on the lobes, but really no significant wear, apparently. I'm not an expert on this. This is the cam that was removed, one of the cams that was removed. And there's a fair amount of wear here. It looks like a chrome. I don't know if these lobe surfaces are, I guess they're not chrome plated, they're just hardened. I don't know if it's case hardening or what. But there's a noticeable change in the way that cam surface looks at the lobe there. And there were a couple different people there at the shop that said that those were pretty much toast, so, or would be toast in the near future. So they didn't think it was a good idea to put it back together with those cams, and like I say, they ended up giving me a set of cams. I think it said he had about 2 hours of labor into it, but he did it for $100, which is pretty nice. So I got brand new lifters to go with those cams. And then I'm going to show you this. This is the sprocket. It goes on the outside. Splined, unlike my original sprocket, which was keyway, but it still retains this semicircular ring there that triggers the cam sensor. So that's part 25716-99. Cam drive sprocket spline 34T. That was a special order part, $90 or something like that.